I am tired. The American people are the biggest slaves of any citizenship in the entire world. And let me tell you why. Because the American people are the only people that are told, go work super hard, go take a massive amount of your life, and we're going to take at least half your money. All right? And then when we take half your money, we're going to send it overseas, or we're going to mismanage it, or we're going to steal it, or we're going to funnel it back into our political contributions, or we're going to send it over here for quote-unquote aid. Okay, where's our motherfucking aid? Where's our aid from Kuwait or any of these other rich countries to fix our homeless problem? Do you ever notice that none of the other citizens on the planet work so that we can have a better here in America? It's always the other way around. Why the fuck are we, the citizens of the United States of America, financing the well-being of every other fucking country in this planet, okay? Until people wake up to that and say no more, shit's gonna continue. This land of the free, that's a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke, dude. Land of the free, land of the motherfucking worker bees is what we are. We work. Government takes more than half of our money. And you say, oh, well, they don't take half of mine. They only take half of the rich people's money. Oh, really? What do you pay when you buy shit? What do you pay when you own shit? What do you pay on your personal property? What do you pay when you put gas in your car? Okay? And if you add all those things up that you pay, they're taking 50% of your money too. And they're telling you to work. The American dream, the American dream, the American dream. And then we'll take half your shit and we send it to other countries. We are the world's ATM. The people of America are the world's ATM. It needs to end. People need to say no more. They need to get smart about taxes. Do you ever question why you weren't taught personal finance, balancing your checkbook, or taxes when you were in high school? Why isn't that part of the public education? Why are they teaching instead gender ideology and all this fucking bullshit? Because they want you to be financially ignorant so that you will go through your life not realizing how much they're actually oppressing you and how much they're actually stealing from you. And then they're going to tell you this is freedom. No, the fuck it isn't. It's not even close. So that's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of us being financially oppressed by our own government in the name of being quote-unquote good people to all these other people that want to kill us.
Being told it's virtuous.
Welcome to the JJ Carrell Show. That was Andy Frias, if I say his name correctly. It's interesting. Before we came on, I said, hey, to my producer, I said, hey, this guy I love him, but he curses a lot. And my producer, Nick, he said it right. We're beyond those days of worrying about curse words. We're being fleeced. We're being stolen. We're being raped, pillaged. We're being lied to right to our face. I just did a real take this morning on Jake Tapper calling the pipe bomber. He's a black man. He puts a picture of the black man on his screen and he calls him a white man. They take our money. They tax us and tax us and tax us and tax us. And where do they do it? Do they give us new roads, new schools, new hospitals? Do they even cut us back our money at the end of the year? No. Well, what do they do with it? Well, they give it to foreign countries. I mean, if an alien came dropping out of space from wherever, which I don't really believe, but let's say we get an alien, drops out of space, and he lands and goes, hey, tell us how you spend your money. I just want to see if we're the same as you. They would be freaked out. They're like, wait a minute. You have homeless. You have schools that are falling apart, airports that look like third world dungeons. Your rail system's broken. Your highways suck. You're giving money to China and Israel and Mexico and basically everybody? Yeah, we do that. What do your people say? Nothing. They're so stupid. They just got used to it. They got normalized. And maybe that's the biggest statement. And I believe in this. I believe that there's a thing called a normalization of chaos, where you cause turmoil, you cause angst, and then you just write it out and it becomes normal. And people accept it. People accept that we've always had income tax. No, we haven't. That was 1913. We've always had a Federal Reserve. No, we haven't. We've always been on a paper dollar. No, we haven't. In the 1960s, got rid of the gold standard. So everything that we're living through today is relatively new. All of it. We've just become normalized to being a victim. We have become normalized. Think about this. Instead of the government nickel and diming you, okay, you get your income, you get your paycheck every 2 weeks, say $5,000 biweekly. Sounds like a lot. It's nothing today. I remember when 100K was a big. I remember the first time I made $100,000 a year. I was proud of myself. I was like, "Yep, okay, I'm making it." Now, $100,000. What are you talking about, man? What are you talking? What? It's $5,000 every paycheck. That's not 100,000. It's like 120,000. Let's just say 5,000. Instead of taking out $2,500, 50% right off the top, you know what they do? They normalize you by nickel and diming you. They'll take about 20%, 25%, 30% right off the top, and it pisses you off, but you're like, all right. And then you pay your property tax. Then you go fill up your tank to gas. They tax that. Then you go to get something to eat. They tax that. You go, hey, I need to get some meat and bread and cheese and some mayo and lettuce for tomorrow for sandwiches for the kids. They tax that. I go see a movie because I finally have a few change in my pocket. They tax that. They tax, and they tax, and then they give it away. They throw it away, they steal it, and they normalize you to accept it. Think about every single time you got your paycheck, you worked your ass off for 40, 50, 60 hours. They just take it. When I worked in the Border Patrol, there was overtime all the time. So I worked a lot of overtime. But at a certain amount of hours, I had to stop working. Why? Because I was making no money. Because of the taxation brackets in California and federal income tax, I would work an 8-hour shift for nothing. It took me one time to realize that. And I was like, that's never happened again. It's a disincentive to bust your ass. I believe, and I hear people talk about this. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I believe the vast majority of Americans need to get together and just say, I'm not paying anything. I'm not paying anything. I'm not paying state tax, federal income tax. I'm not paying nothing. Zero. Come get me. What if there was 30 million of us, like the 30 million illegal aliens that came into a country? What are they going to do? How are they going to come find all of us? What if all of us backed each other up? 30 million people, I would guarantee you that somebody is in every organization, governmental organization in our country, times hundreds of thousands. So you get tipped off. When I tell you the system needs to be burnt to the ground, I was in front of Congress and they used that against me. They said, you said that the nation is a bastion of pedophilia and needs to be burnt to the ground. And I couldn't speak because they cut your mic off. But I was like nodding and I was saying out loud without a microphone, yeah, I said that. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, well, ask me about it. Come on, let's. Oh, you want to go? Thank you for mentioning that like it's a slander against me. Come on, let's talk about it. You fat Guatemalan illegal alien, or you disgusting looking woman in a leopard skin outfit. Then another woman had giant the fair type glasses you get, Tweety Bird glasses. Then I'm looking at all the pasty white guys, Republicans that are stumbling over themselves. I'm looking at Clay Higgins, who's a buffoon. Dear God, you want to know how our country sucks? How we're fighting and wearing hats that say MAGA? You know why we wear a hat saying MAGA? Make America Great Again. Go to Washington, D.C. and sit around or sit among the dumbest people in our society. They are ruling us. That's a stone cold truth. They are absolutely stupid people. You know what Clay Higgins asked me? I can't believe this. I thought I was going to. God. I got railed for a good 5 minutes by the illegal alien Delia Ramirez from Illinois, who's married to an illegal alien as well. Called all kind of vile names. Called all kinds of stuff, and I thought I did a great job testifying. But I remember thinking this was about child sex trafficking. Nothing got done My testimony was thousands of children are being raped right now as we speak. And Clay Higgins goes, well, it looks like we're out of time. Then Clay Higgins comes and shakes our hands. And then he asked me a very, very important question. See, because Clay Higgins used to be a sheriff. And I thought, we'll have some kindred spirits here. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is when he's going to ask me to, hey, come on back to my chambers. Let's have a real discussion away from these animals, these stupid people. No, that wasn't it. You know what he asked me? It was a really important question. Really, really important. He said, do you want a picture? Do I want a picture with you? Why in God's name do I want a picture with you? You're a celebrity? You're a stupid ass congressman. I know where you're from. I live down in Louisiana. I know where you're from. It's not the bastion of high intellectuals. You haven't created anything. You ran for election and won. Congratulations. You haven't saved one child. You've run multiple child sex trafficking congressional testimonies and done nothing. Zero. Nada. No, I don't want a picture with you, you jackass. I was so freaking. Those are the people that are running your lives. I honestly, I tell this story in my book. I was sitting I know this sounds crazy, but it's all connected. I'm in my Uber, just flew into Washington, D.C. In my Uber, I am going to some building. I forget the name of the building I'm going to in Washington, D.C. It's right near the Capitol. And I'm stopped at a stoplight, and I'm looking through the front window of the Uber, and there crosses a lady that is not fat, but she shouldn't be wearing very tight clothes. And it's leopard skin. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, what are you going to do? It's Washington, D.C. It's a city. Okay. I don't really care. I got stuff on my mind, but I just notice it. I'm sitting at my table to begin to testify, and it's going to start in about 10 minutes. And up on the dais, because they place themselves above you, those jackasses, on the dais are all of the congressmen. This is where all the congressmen sit, and behind them, the aides sit there, the congressional aides. And in the corner of my eye is a doorway. And in that doorway, it catches my eye because someone's walking in. And I look to my right. Oh, and lo and behold, it's a lady in the leopard skin. And I think, okay, well, I mean, she's like a reporter, maybe. I don't know. She's whatever. And then I start seeing her walk up the steps. And I'm like, oh, God, no. No. There's no way in God's green earth that this woman's a congresswoman. There's no way. She just came back from a rave with a giant weave. And she sits down as a congresswoman next to the congresswoman with the Tweety Bird reading glasses on. Giant red reading glasses. Like literally the size, one lens is the size of my face. And I remember sitting there looking at them. I mean, I just sit there and look at them. And I thought, dear God, what have I got myself into? Because we're not going to have an intellectual conversation. There's going to be no true back and forth. Like you have an intellectual discussion with an individual or individuals, and there's this give and take, and there's acknowledgement of points and disagreements, and you have the argument on disagreements. No, I'm dealing with retards, and I'm dealing with milquetoast. I mean, the quintessential meme of the white Republican times 4. I'm just looking at them, and I'm thinking, you dudes, you don't even know what the F is going on. You don't even know the topic. You jackasses, I don't even know. What do you do? How do you not? My point is, the dumbest people in our society are the politicians, and they rule over us. America is pissed off. This last week after Thanksgiving, after the murder of Sarah Beckstorm, the National Guardswoman, the shooting and the guy's fighting for his life, Andrew Wolf, was 27. The young woman was 20. This has set off a firestorm. And in that firestorm, another story popped up. And that story was Somalians in Little Mogadishu. And now there's a wildfire, and it's scorching across America, and Americans have had it. There is a level of anger, there is a level of resentment, and there's a level of people being pissed off. And I want to play this clip that's going viral right now. It is an Afghan soldier. Let me say this differently. United States soldier that fought in a war in Afghanistan. And I want you to listen to what he says, because this is very, very important. Listen to what he says about the world he came back to.
I just got done listening to Ilhan Omar talk about how horrible and terrible and dirty and everything else that this country is. Denigrating this country, denigrating half of the people in it. This country has been very kind, benevolent, and gracious to her and countless others. We gave her asylum. We gave her a place to live. We gave her an education. We gave her a pathway to become a sitting United States congressman. But to me, it goes deeper than that. See, I'm an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran. I was 22 years old when those planes flew into those buildings, and me and thousands of other young men across this country answered the call to go over there and combat this evil that was on our shores, that had finally hit us. And what we were told over and over again is that we go over there and we fight them over there, we will not have to fight them here. And now here we are. We're retired. We're out. We're ready to start pursuing a life of our own. And what does this country do to that enemy that we went over there and we fought to keep over there because that's what we were told? We kissed our families goodbye. I watched my wife cry while I got on that bus to go to the airport or go to the airfield. I watched my son cry because he didn't know if or when he was going to see me again. And then I come home. I've been retired for 8 years. And I come home, and what are we seeing? We're seeing entire communities being taken over by the very people that we fought to keep off of our shores. Dearborn Mission is completely freaking taken over. Now we have mosques in Minnesota, Texas, Missouri, all over the country, promoting Sharia law. Do we really have to tell people that Sharia law is incompatible with the United States Constitution? We were told that if we fought them over there, we would not have to fight them here. But what do we have? What did you do? You elected it mayor of New York. You gave it Senate seats in Minnesota. Now I want you to turn around. I want you to find an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran somewhere around you, and I want you to look them in the eye and tell them why they should not feel betrayed. Do it. I dare you.
Going viral. And it should. We have to go over there. I remember that. Oh, dear God, I remember that. John McCain, who never hated a war. Lindsey Graham of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell generation, loved it. Loved the war. We're going to go over there. George Bush with his stupid Texas twang. We're going to go over there. So we don't have to fight it here. No, you jackass. No. You imported all that crap into our country. We voted in a freaking Muslim president. You can try to convince me Barack Hussein Obama is not a Muslim. Sure. And I will have Jake Tapper give you a lineup of different people and call out their race and ethnicity to you. You can trust it. That guy's right. We're going to send you over there, away from your families. Thank you for serving. Thank you for leaving your family, knowing that there's a great probability that you're going to get killed or maimed or come back with psychological problems. But don't you worry. We're going to take care of you and your family. You just keep us safe. Nope, that's not what happened. We went over to Middle East. We've been there for over 23, 24 years. We have spent now an estimate of 10 trillion. That's with a T, trillion dollars. 10,000 of our soldiers have died. Hundreds of thousands have been maimed or have been psychologically destroyed. Millions of family members had to go through trauma. For what? Oh, because Saddam Hussein was a bad person. And his sons were bad. Oh, really? There's a lot of bad people in America. We had to go all the way to Iraq, into Yemen, into Afghanistan, into Syria, bomb Iran, and on and on and on for a lie. All of it was a lie. It was fabricated that we had to go to war with Iraq because they had weapons of mass destruction. We go and destroy everything in that nation, kill untold amounts of people to find out, oh, yeah, there's no weapons of mass destruction. Okay, well, let's pull our troops out. Let's regroup. Let's apologize. No, we're going to stay. Well, what do you mean? Well, we're already there, damn it. Let's go to war with Iraq. Let's go to war with Afghanistan. Hey, you know what? There's little Yemen. Let's go blow them up. You don't feel lied to, America? You don't feel disgusted? You don't feel betrayed like that man? I felt like that man throughout my 24 years in the Border Patrol, except Donald Trump's last 2 years in his first term. I felt betrayed every single day. And that's a tough pill to swallow. I'm going to tell you that. Right? I'm going to just tell you from my perspective, that is a tough pill to swallow. Knowing that I'm going to work, doing a job to keep the nation safe on the border, fighting, getting hurt, hurting people, enforcing laws that the Congress and Senate voted on, passed, and I'm enforcing. And because I'm enforcing their laws, they call me vile names. I felt betrayed every single day. And I can't imagine those men and women that came back from war, lost their buddies. People died. I had friends die on the border. I had people get hurt on the border. I saw people be abused as pawns in political theater on the border. I was a pawn at one time. It is a terrible, terrible feeling to be helpless because the machines got a hold of you. All of those men went to fight a war that was worthless. And they know it deep down. They may get angry at you and say it's not worth it. Yeah, I understand. Just like I understand me and my guys being down the border, riding ATVs, taking down narco loads in the middle of the night. I understand we did great work, just like you did great work. But when you pull back and stop being so personal about it, and it's very hard because I had to pull myself back from the whole personal feeling of it and look at it from a very wide lens and look at the totality of it and go, dear God, this is all a lie. All of it. Quickly tell me one thing that we got from the war in the Middle East in 24 years. Go ahead. Try to convince me of something positive we got out of there. You can't. You honestly can't. Don't give me some geopolitical kind of gobbledygook. That place is a effing mess because we bombed them to smithereens. Try to convince me that the 4 years that Joe Biden erased my 24 years of work and tell me that my 24 years was not a waste of time. Go ahead. Try to convince me that. I dare you. I challenge you to have the courage to do that. Just like that gentleman said, I challenge you to go to an Iraq, Afghanistan veteran, look him in the eye and tell them that no, your feelings of being betrayed are just in your head. You just have PTSD. You're just stupid. You're just a knuckle dragger. You have to see things in a bigger picture. No, I don't. I was there. I was on the border. That man was in the war. We know. We're very aware of what betrayal looks like, feels like. and smells like. We know it. Here's another guy that is irate at looking at the crime that's being committed by illegal Somalians and how the gentleman prior to this said Islam, Muslims, they are incompatible with our society, and we are now seeing the fruits of all of the evil. Watch this.
So this Somali immigrant who's living in Minnesota kidnapped a 12-year-old girl and hard-R'd her. But that's just kind of what the Somali culture does. JD, you can't say that. That's racist. Actually, I'm not even the one who said that, and it's not racist, it's just a cultural fact. And if you don't believe me, you can read this letter from the St. Paul Islamic Center that wrote their community support of him, saying that he is not assimilated into non-Somali culture yet. So this is the letter from the Islamic Center that said that they give their heartfelt support as a community to the grown man who kidnapped and raped a 12-year-old girl because he's just having problems adapting to a different culture than Somali culture. So hear me out on this, guys. Maybe, just maybe, this is not a culture that is compatible with Western culture, and maybe these people shouldn't be in America. If not raping kids is too much of a concept to be able to wrap their minds around, then they probably just shouldn't fucking be here.
It shouldn't be here. And I remember, this is not an old story. This is a story that's active right now. The Somali community got together and wrote a letter of support to the judge saying that this guy just is continuing on the Somali culture. And nobody has ever said, wait a minute, the Somali culture is raping women and girls? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's their culture. They admitted it. They just admitted it right there. You don't have to like me saying it as a big, strong white man with white male privilege. You can just listen to those savages, those retarded effing losers, those pieces of garbage, as Donald Trump says. Those pieces of garbage actually admit, hey, this stupid retard here, he's used to raping women and children in Somalia. He just hasn't fully assimilated into the non-rape culture of America. Can you, America, just stop for a second and see the absurdity? I mean, Orwell would, or if somebody brought this to Orwell and said, put it into your book, he would go, I'm not putting that. That's absurd. No one's going to believe that. No one's going to believe that. Well, yeah, sir, they're going to believe that because this is going to happen. No. There's no way. Oh, yeah. As the towers fell and they blamed it on a bunch of goat herders that were flying planes, if I told you on September 12th, it's still smoldering, you can still hear the screams of people dying in the buildings. If I got a bullhorn and just said, hey, in 24 years, you're going to have a Muslim mayor in New York from Uganda. You're going to have a president. His name is Barack Hussein Obama. You're going to have millions of Somalian rapists and Middle Eastern men roaming our countryside, Muslims, from all the places we're going to go to war. There are going to be millions of them in America. Mosques are going to go up all over our country. You would have shot me, or you would have arrested me and put me in Bellevue, wouldn't you? Let's be honest with each other. There's no way that I could have said that out loud and people would have ever took me serious. Look where we're at now. We quadrupled the amount of Muslims in our country after they destroyed our World Trade Centers, supposedly, allegedly. We brought almost a large segment of Somalians who have an IQ of under the retardation rate. I'm going to talk about the Somalians a little more later on because that story just won't go away. The more they dig, the more shocking the analysis is, the more shocking what they find. They believe it's up to $8 billion of fraud now Not 1 billion. That was bad enough. We're at 8 billion. Do you want to try? It's 80,000 of those savages in Minnesota. They stole $8 billion. You don't steal $8 billion without inside job, meaning Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar. They absolutely knew it. They absolutely partook in it in one way or the other, either by just turning a blind eye. They knew it. Ilhan Omar's getting contributions, and Walz are getting contributions from people that are subhuman, and they're donating thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to them. Well, where the hell did they get that? I don't see any brain surgeons amongst those group of people. Do you? Have you seen any Somalian brain surgeons? Honestly, have you? I mean, 88% of them are on welfare, so that leaves about 12%. So I know that the field's shrinking rapidly. Oh boy. It gets better though. Every video gets better and better and better. Because I want to show you this video. This is the Minnesota Teacher of the Year from Somalia. Wait till you hear about him. Wonderful human being.
The former Minnesota Teacher of the Year, Abdul Wright, was sentenced to more than 14 years in prison after he was found guilty of abusing a child when she was his student. The 39-year-old is a former Harvard Best Academy teacher and was named Teacher of the Year back in 2016, and that's around the time the victim said the abuse began. She was in 8th grade then, and said Wright groomed her and sexually assaulted her multiple times, often in the classroom. After the sentencing, I spoke with the victim's father, who told me that this is the sentence he earned. It's a long time coming, and that the family feels vindicated, but it's just one step in a long healing process.
A long healing process. Well, I want to know if the Somali community got together and just said he just doesn't know that you're not supposed to molest and rape your students that you are teaching. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the Somalians don't have schools. Well, that could be true. And maybe he just doesn't understand that the people in his classroom he's supposed to teach where he thinks that they're there for sexual pleasure. I don't know. Maybe we should ask him. He seems to be one of the less retarded Somalians. Have you had it yet, America? I like this congressman. His name is Congressman Brandon Gill. And he just says the truth out loud. And it's kind of refreshing to hear it say. Watch this and tell me where he's wrong.
The reality is that not all cultures are equal. That's a fundamental truth that we have to be able to say boldly and straightforwardly. And the reality is that different cultures are compatible with different governing systems. And in the United States, we have certain constitutional rights. Among them are the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion. And the reality is that the tenets of Islam as a political ideology are incompatible with our constitutional system.
That's right.
Islam as an ideology is a very different conception of freedom of religion, a very different conception of the separation of mosque and state, very different conception of freedom of speech. And we have to recognize that. And whenever we're thinking about our immigration policy, it ought to reflect the truth that not all cultures are equal. And we need to be able to preserve our nation and our culture so that our children and grandchildren can inherit it.
Yeah. Refreshing. Truth. Not all cultures are the same. Diversity is not a strength. All religions are not the same. Why are we infecting our body with a virus? Why? You wouldn't invite these people into your house, but you invited them into your country, thinking that you could stave them off somehow. They're reproducing like rabbits. I'm all for huge families. I come from a large Catholic family. My wife comes from a very large Catholic family. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just telling you, they're outbreeding us. This is a math problem now. the 50 million illegal aliens, the vast majority are single adult military-aged men from the continent of Africa, Middle East, and Africa. They're bringing their relatives in, and they're having babies. And they're having babies 8-1, 5-1, 6-1, 4-1. It's just a matter of time when we lose. I saw this. This gentleman I like him a lot. His name is, I'm sorry, I just lost it. His name is Brett Pike, P-I-K-E. You can find him on X, Brett Pike. And he talks about history in a way that is digestible for everybody. I think he writes children's books too. But the way that he lays these things out are amazing. I want you to listen to what real assimilation looked like. Henry Ford partook in it. And what the lie that we've been taking in these savages and no assimilation, no actually demanding of them to become Americans. Listen to this, and this makes perfect sense.
In the past, when immigrants came to America, they were forced to assimilate. So take Henry Ford. He would only hire Ellis Island immigrants under the condition that they attended his Ford English school, in which his employees were required to learn and speak only English, study U.S. civics, patriotism, the U.S. Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and study and demonstrate what America considered good personal conduct and a proper domestic lifestyle. And after they graduated, Ford would host a melting pot ceremony in which immigrants would stand on one side of a stage with their native flag. They would then put that flag down, walk to the other side, and pick up an American flag. Because everybody used to understand that America is a special place and people from other countries don't just have a right to be here. So if they wanted to come, they had to agree to assimilate into American culture. And if there was too much immigration, the entire thing would be shut down, just like they shut down Ellis Island. And between 1920 and 1939, only 1 million people were allowed to enter the country. But then JFK gets shot, and whoever took over after that passes the Hart-Celler Act and opens up our borders indefinitely. And then they used America's schools, our schools, to teach the children of immigrants that America is an oppressive place, which is a recipe for disaster. And everybody in the West used to know that. Just look at what St. Thomas Aquinas said, that the amount of immigrants a country takes in should always be proportionate to the population. That full citizenship shouldn't even be an option until the third generation, so they could guarantee that real assimilation actually took place. And the state's obligation to provide aid to foreigners can never come at the expense of its citizens. And this is why I write books on how information.
You can stop it there. Amazing, right? Common sense. Spot on. Ask yourself, is anybody coming here and turning down their flag? Or do you see foreign flags waving in our country? Nauseating. All the flags of the world are flying in America. They're burning our flag. We're not allowed to burn the Israeli flag. I don't know if you knew that. But you can burn the American flag. Just a side note. Every time, every show, I promote my website and my Substack. Please go to it, subscribe to it. Click on likes on YouTube, but go to my website, jjcarrell.com, jjcarrell.com. I have tons of free stuff. I have access to my books, my documentaries, on and on, as well as my Substack at jjcarrell.substack.com. Become a free subscriber. You want to be a paid subscriber? Great, and help fund my show. Be a partner in this? Great. Go to jjcarrell.com or jjcarrell.substack.com. Now, Nick and I have a new sponsor, and I got it on Friday. And I told my wife, look, I have a new sponsor. I want to try their product before I promote it. All right, let's do it. I show her the website, the video of how they make some of their meat chicken, and pork, and we tried it out, and we loved it. It's called Carnival. Now, I'm not supposed to make it every day. Why? Because they have some kind of proprietary system that freeze dries uncooked raw meat, and it's good for 25 years. So I asked Chris Heaven, who runs Survival Dispatch News, and I said, "Do you use it?" He goes, "Yeah, I eat it all the time." I said, "You're not supposed to eat it all the time." I know, but I eat it all the time, and I stockpile it because something's going to happen. And if something doesn't happen, then I got food. Let me show you the package it comes in. I love it. I'm going to bring it right up to the camera. This is the packaging, Carnival. I'm going to read it to you because I couldn't, when I started to look into it before, as my wife was cooking, I just said, let me do some more research. No hormones, no antibiotics, no artificial flavors, no preservatives, just pure meat. Just pure meat. Nick was telling me he eats it. He likes it. He was telling me every part of this product, to include the packaging, to include all the proprietary ingredients, done in America by Americans. I'm sold. I'm sold. Just sold. I'm in. They have beef, sirloin beef, they have chicken breast, and they have pork. It's actually amazing. You know what you're getting. It's all good and it tastes great. We had it. What's great is you can go on their website and see their ingredients, see their recipes. I love it. Carnival. Go to carnival.com. Carnival.com, promo code JJ10, JJ10, and you get 10% off. Carnival.com, promo code JJ10, get 10% off. I love it. I'm in. When you tell me if it's good, like it tastes good, okay, that's great. Then you tell me, well, it goes for 25 years. Well, okay, that's a major plus because you need to stockpile and to be ready, be prepared. Oh yeah, JG, every single thing to include the packaging is in America. Built in America by Americans. I'm in. I don't need anything else. I'm in. I want to play their video. I saw this video and I texted Nick and said, "Hey, Nick, just when we're talking about this, play it because this is, I love it. And it shows how beautiful their food is." Go ahead and play this, Nick.
Make great meals anytime with Carnival.
Carnival, I'm sold. New product to promote. Love it. Chris Evans sent it to me. I called him and said, "Okay, I'm in. Go to carnival.com, promo code, put in JJ10, get 10% off your order. Every order you make. Love it. Absolutely love it. We talked about, I gave a quick mention of this Minnesota story. Like every day I start laying out my podcast, laying out my show, what I'm going to talk about. And every day for over a week now, I've thought, well, I won't talk about Minnesota. I'll give it a break. Then I get one new story, one new research, one new dug up. And I'm just like, gosh almighty, I have to talk. I mean, it's the story that does not stop. And I'm going to tell you, it's not going to stop for a long time because what they're uncovering is a web of corruption that cannot just be run by a bunch of retarded people from Somalia. There's no way. Ilhan Omar has to be involved. Tim Walz has to be involved, either by turning a blind eye or getting direct payments. They have to be involved at the highest level. It's not $1 billion. It's not $1 billion. It's $8 billion. If they stole $8 billion from the crazy leftist state of the lakes, Minnesota, I'm almost okay. Like, you deserve it. You let them in your state, and you cater to it. Your stupid mayor is speaking Somalian garbage language. You own it, right? You own it. But it's not. It's my money. It's federal dollars are being stolen by the retarded Somali pirates. Nick, can you please play number 7? This is $8 billion. $8 billion. Go ahead and play this, please.
Fraud investigators are finding in Minnesota is growing by the day. Kelly Loeffler, who leads the Small Business Administration, says in the 2 days her agency has been investigating the state, they've uncovered at least $1 million in PPP fraud just 2 days in. Several of the whistleblowers in Minnesota have also told lawmakers they believe the total amount of fraud could total up to more than $8 billion. Governor Tim Walz, who is up for re-election, is under fire for all of this happening under his watch. But he says they have paused these programs. They've brought in outside auditors to get an idea of how far-reaching this fraud was. They're taking steps to keep it from happening again. And he's defending his management of the state while also taking shots at Republicans and the president.
And in spite of the headwinds we're up against, Minnesota ranks economically, economic growth, happiness, number of people insured, education levels, near the very top. So I'll tell you what, I have no interest in having this state look like Oklahoma or Mississippi. And if folks are going to commit crimes here, thinking because our generous spirit and our programs that we have is going to give them some kind of cover, they are sadly mistaken.
Yeah, Minnesota is also now home to the single largest pandemic fraud scheme in the country. And Republicans argue that Walz and other Democrats opened the door to this.
He doesn't want to be like Mississippi and Oklahoma. He's slandering Mississippi and Oklahoma. Look, I lived in Mississippi. I played football in Oklahoma. I'm not saying those are the greatest states in the world. But my God, they don't have hundreds of thousands of pirate Somalis stealing all their money. No, they don't. He is functionally, like, you know how someone say, well, he's a functional alcoholic or he's a functional drug addict. You know, he can parse the drugs and the alcohol and goes to work. No, this guy is a functional retarded person. Like, something's wrong with him. And I don't say this mean. There's something wrong with that man. Like, something very, very, very wrong. And Trump knows it. Watch Trump talk. Excuse me. Before I go to Trump, I want to show you Maria Bartoloma interviewing, I think she's a spokesman for DHS. I could be wrong, but I believe she's a spokeswoman for ICE and DHS. Listen to what she says about the Somalis and how they're tied, how they're the center, like a center of terrorism and terrorists.
President Trump has done such a phenomenal job of removing these silos between our intelligence agencies, between the FBI, the DEA, Homeland Security investigations. We've been all over this. I mean, we've also seen, a nexus of terrorism there as far as this Somali population and others in these communities giving money to terrorist cells outside of our country. That's something we're certainly tracking down. President Trump has done such a phenomenal job of removing these silos.
They're terrorists. And they fund terrorism. You think that $8 billion, you think that they're saying there's $1.7 billion going from the Somalian community back to Somalia. So let's again, the people that came from Somalia have IQ on the average that's below 70. They're functionally retarded. And they together accumulated $1.7 billion last year to send to Somalia. You believe that? Oh, I believe it because they stole it. They stole it, and we allowed them. The pasty old white guy named Tim Walz allowed it to happen. And there is reports now that the way they made him happen, way they made Walz do it, is they threatened him that we'll sue you and we'll smear you as a racist. And it scared him. So he said, okay, just keep stealing. You're Somalians. You're pirates. What can I do about it? Donald Trump, of course, Donald Trump just lays the wood to him, and Ilhan Omar and the garbage Somalians. I have to play this again because I love it.
They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because, you know, it just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Walz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state. And all they do is complain, complain, complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with, go back to your own country and figure out your Constitution. All she does is complain about this country. Without this country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon, I hope. But what Somalia, what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. And a lot of it starts with the governor.
Anything he said that made you upset? I'm going to tell you this. I've been watching Ilhan Omar this last probably 36 hours. She is not right. She's scared. You can see it in her face, hear it in her words, hear how she speaks. She's frightened because it all comes back to her. There's pictures of her and Walz with these pirates, these fraudsters that have stolen billions of dollars. Well, are you trying to tell me that she's not getting a cut of that? She's worth $29 million now. How did she get $29 million? She had no money when she came from Somalia. So she's smarter than me. She works harder than me. She makes more money than me? No, she doesn't. She's not smarter. She doesn't make more money than me. And yet I'm not worth $20+ million. How is she worth $20+ million? Anybody want to ask that? Anyone just want to, just a simple question. Anyone in Congress want to do some kind of like investigation? Nope. Because they're all stealing money. All of them. Just like I said about Carnival, I'm going to say about being prepared. You need to be prepared at sat123.com, sat123.com/JJ. Why do you need to be prepared? Look around. You think that this is all going to end well? We heard Mr. Ford start talking about assimilation. Then also in that video talking about St. Thomas Aquinas saying you have to be proportionate between the citizens and immigrants that are coming in, not illegal immigrants. He was just saying immigrants. 50 million illegal aliens are in America. 1 in 6 to 1 in 7 residents in America is illegal alien. St. Thomas Aquinas would have flipped his lid if I told him that was the ratio. We are allowing ourselves to die, to be murdered. We're funding it. And there are going to be times that are going to be hard. Just like Carnival. I'm hungry, okay? I have something that I can eat. That gives me, what does that give me? It gives me time. It gives me more time to survive, to figure out, to plan, to strategize. Same thing with Sat123. It gives me have the ability to communicate with the outside world, to communicate with my loved ones, to understand that they're safe, that we can rally. It gives me time. I have a generator with solar panels. I have time to have power, to be able to be comfortable as I think through what needs to be done. I've said this many times. You don't have to believe what I believe. You don't have to prepare like I prepare, but you have to be on some level ready for the worst. Because history shows that it happens. Go ask the people in World War I and World War II. Go ask them in European theater. Go ask them in Japan. Go ask them in Russia. Do you think it would have been good if you had back then stockpile food, canned goods? You think if they needed solar panel power, they would have it, or a ballistic shield? A sat phone if there was a thing like that? Of course they would. Of course they would. Are you telling me that 50 million illegal aliens, 60 to 70% of them single adult military age men from continent Africa, Middle East, Venezuela, Haiti, so nations that despise us, you think they're going to sit here and they're just going to take it? You think the Somalians are not going to rise up and fight? Are you crazy? We're about to have a bloodbath in little Mogadishu. ICE is there now. Border Patrol's coming. It's going to be bad. Prepare. Be ready. That's my rally call. Every single show. Be prepared. Sat123.com/JJ. Sat123.com/JJ. And identical to Carnival, and why I love Sat123. Made in America by Americans. And you call customer service, and lo and behold, Sally from any town in America is going to pick up the phone and speak English to you. Holy smokes. What an idea. I'm looking at my clock to my left. Nick, we're almost done. I mean, we're flying by. I got 3 minutes left. I'm not going to play the videos. I have a list of videos I want to play. I just don't have the time. And maybe I'll just talk about it because it's important to know. Every time Border Patrol and ICE goes and does a specific targeting of a city, something happens. Several things happen. One, the school kids don't go to school, and it's enormous amounts of children. So it proves that there are even more than the subscribed 50 million illegal aliens in our country. For example, Charlotte, 30,000 kids didn't show up. Let me say that again. I can see 3,000 go, wow, that's a big number. No. It was 30,000 children didn't show up for school and still haven't shown up for school. Well, why? Because their families are illegal. So you're telling me I've been funding through federal funds, through state and local governments, I've been funding 30,000 students to go to school that shouldn't be there? What do you think those classrooms look like without less than 30,000 students? Probably a lot of learning going on for our white and black kids, wouldn't you say? I think so. But no, we're going to spend all our money on lunches, breakfasts, after school care, English as a second language, and all of the U.S. citizen kids, damn it, too bad. Suck it up. You got privilege. The other thing that happens, there's no traffic. I saw this firsthand, a day without a Mexican in LA and in San Diego. I love those. I love the days without the Mexicans. Why? Because there was no one on Interstate 5 and Interstate 15. Nobody. I just zip up and down. And another thing that's happening since Donald Trump has started these deportations, rents have gone down for 4 straight months. Why is that in an inflationary world? It's because now we're deporting so many people. It's a supply issue. We have an excess in supply of housing. You have 105 million people in our country. We have no housing because we're supposed to have infrastructure for 340 million, not 450 million. I know a lot of things that I talk about are hard. I know it's hard to hear, it's hard to digest. But if I'm truthful, I don't care. I'm going to be fearless and I'm going to speak without a filter, period.